Welcome back to Surviving and Thriving, where we share with you the things that we have learned as we have transitioned our family from struggling to survive disease to thriving right smack dab in the midst of it, in the hopes that something that we share with you will help you and encourage you as you transition your family from struggling to survive disease to thriving right smack dab in the midst of it. There's something that my husband and I talk about a lot lately, right? And it's that what was our reality growing up in our situation is not our children's reality growing up in their situation, right? So we grew up in single parent homes. But our children, they have both of their parents and they've had both of their parents all of their life. So what's true for us growing up is not true for them. And so a lot of times we have different perspectives, different situations, different issues because we don't come from the same background, meaning that our reality for us as children growing up in our experiences is not the experiences our children are having growing up, right? So it's different realities. Well, how does that relate to your health? Well, because everybody has a different reality. There's a lot of different variances and variables in everyone's life, in everyone's health walk. Even if people are dealing with the same two things, there are different variables. So what's reality to one person may not be reality to another person. Well, with that, right, what works for one person may not work for another person. Also, right, the pathways for everyone is going to be different because there are different variables, different things that are reality to these two people going through the same thing will lead those two people perhaps on different pathways, and their pathway to success are not going to look alike. And that's important for all of us to know, okay? That our pathways to success, to health, is not going to look like everyone else's, maybe no one else that you know, right? You can be dealing with the same health issue as someone else in your family, but because your sister, your brother, your auntie, your uncle, or whatever is dealing with that same health issue, but because you guys have different variables in each of your lives, in each of your health, in each of your bodies, your pathways to success are not going to be the same. And we need to, as people that are dealing with health challenges, understand that and accept that and be able to walk through that. Also, oh, squirrels. Also, what we need to be able to do is to allow other people to have the pathway that is best for them. A lot of times when people share wisdom, they're going to share their wisdom according to their experiences and what they know. Why wisdom for us, what's wise for us to do is to listen to what they're saying, right? But know what is best for us. There may be some things we can grab out of what someone else is telling us that might be good for us. There may be just some wisdom in what not to do by listening to what they did that they thought was successful, but you know that that's not the results that you want and that's not wise for you. You got to know you. You got to know everything that's concerning you and your life, your health, your family, to be able to determine what's right for you and what's not right for you. You can't just take whatever somebody is saying and run with it because you'll be running all over the place. Somebody will tell you to take this will help with that, and then somebody else say don't take that because it'll do this to that. And you'll be confused in the middle, running around like a chicken with his head cut off, and you do not want to be like that. But we also don't want to get upset with other people when they don't take our wisdom. There's a lot of people out there that get very angry if they share their wisdom with you, whether you ask for it or not, right? But especially if you ask and they gave you their advice and you don't do their advice, people get really upset with you. And it's like, why? When you share your wisdom and you share your advice, one thing that is good for us all to remember is that we're putting out there what we know and giving someone a perspective, but they are to take what they feel is best for them and utilize that. And just because someone doesn't take our advice does not mean that we need to be angry with them or to cut them off, but we still need to be able to support them and love them right where they are. It's not a personal slight against you. A lot of times I think some people take it personal if you don't do what they tell you to do, right? But a lot of times, those same people don't understand there's different variables, and the pathways to success is not the same for everyone. Just because you ate an orange every day and it cured you of this doesn't mean that that orange every day is going to cure me of that, right? And so people get upset. I keep telling you, you need to eat this every day. Well, you eating that every day or your mama eating that every day might have helped her, but that has nothing to do with what I'm going through or even what your body works with, right? I mean, what if somebody's telling somebody to eat an orange every day and don't even realize the other person is allergic to an orange? So you better know you. Know that your pathway is uniquely designed for you and be able to stand up on the pressure, because a lot of times you're going to find that you will have to stand alone. If you're not just doing what everybody else does and want you to do, you oftentimes will have to stand alone, and people are not going to understand you because they're only looking at you from their experience. They're not looking at you from who you are, your viewpoint, and your experience. Example, I've heard a lot that, you don't have to ask your husband to watch the kids. They're his kids. You don't have to ask him to watch his own kids. Well, that might be true and wise for some people's marriages, but it wasn't true and wise for my marriage. But then these people don't understand me, don't understand my husband, don't know where we came from to be that are giving that type of advice, right? So in my situation, my husband worked 14, 16-hour days. I stayed home with the kids all the time that I had kids, right? I've always been a housewife. So my husband's out there working. He's busting his butt to take care of our family. When he walks through the door, I'm looking to see how tired he is. Is he frustrated? Did he have a bad day? I'm not going to leave my children with somebody who's been working 14, 16-hour days straight for who knows how long. They come home, they had a bad day, and then I leave them with some babies that are crying and fussy and all this stuff. And that's how a lot of child abuse happen. And people don't really think about that. But a lot of times people don't think about that when they've never experienced something like that. I've experienced my father working many hours, long days, frustrated, coming home sleep. And I was too little to get a cup out the cabinet. So I had to climb up there. I opened the counter up and I climbed up there, hit my head, and I started bleeding. And my dad came downstairs with a belt and he beat the crap out of me. And by the time he was done, the house was a whole mess. We done turned everything over. And my sister was screaming, trying to tell him, Daddy, she's bleeding, she's bleeding, she's bleeding. But because he was so tired, right? And he was so stressed out and so overworked, he got woken up from screams out of a deep sleep, and all he thought was somebody must have been fighting or doing something they weren't supposed to be coming to do. So he didn't ask questions. He came down beaten, right? So when you've experienced things like that, then you kind of be mindful. You know what? If he's tired, I'm not going to leave him with some little babies that need to be fed and diapers need to be changed and that need to be watched. Or if he's cranky, I'm not going to leave him with stuff like that. I'm going to be respectful to my husband, mindful of my children, right? To make sure that he's in the right place to be able to love on them and have a good time with them. I'm going to make sure that environment is great. Any food or bottles that need to be made, everything is done so that when he is with them, it's a good time, it's a bonding time, and they have a great experience. I'm not going to drop the kids on him as soon as he walked through the door and I'm like, I'm out of here, watch the kids, right? So that's just an example, right? Where some people that wisdom of you don't have to ask might be good for some families, but it's not good for every family. For me, I was a woman of wisdom and didn't listen to that nonsense because in my marriage, that's nonsense. But even then I had to make a stand, right? And get talked about for years because I made a stance and didn't follow that wisdom. So likewise in your health, you're going to have to be able to make stances, be willing to be talked about, even ostracized, right? And to be labeled for stances that you will make because you don't take the wisdom of others or the pathway of others. A lot of people, even to this day, tell me I'm stubborn, I'm hard-headed, you just want to fight, you just this and this and this and that, and who don't even know anything about my health situations or the things that I was going through, but just knew I wasn't doing what the doctors told me to do and would get on me all the time about it. And I still, years and years and years later, still have a stigma around me because of that. But I really don't care, right? Because they wanted me to do something the doctors told me to do. They didn't understand what the doctors was telling me to do or why I wasn't going to not do it. But doctors were telling me to do stuff that was going to kill me Doctors was telling me to do things that would disrupt my family. I had babies at home, and that was my priority. So a lot of times people don't understand things from your viewpoint. And when they share wisdom, they're not going to always give you wisdom according to who you are, according to your situation, according to what's best for you, according to your priorities. They're going to give you wisdom according to their priorities, what was best for them, or somebody that they know, right? You see people who live all kind of reckless ways and be like, well, I seen this person and these people live to be 100 years old and they ate pork and they drink and smoke cigars, right? And so I'm going to do the same thing. Well, just because that worked for them don't mean it's going to work for you. And that didn't really work for them. You don't know if they was taking resveratrol, doing supplements. You don't know what they were doing with their health, and you don't even know all the hell they've been through in their health, even though they're still living at 100 years old, right? And they may be 100, but they may not have, they may not have all their vitality, right? And you're trying to do and be with somebody else and you don't even know what all that they've done or what all that they've been through. Just because wisdom sounds good, right, and things may add up, may not mean it's going to add up for you. That's why part of the reason why I tell you to do you, be you, because your pathway to success is not going to be following somebody else. There's a lot of people out there that'll be like, well, billionaires, they get up at 3 o'clock and work out every morning. So I got to get up at 3 o'clock and work out at every morning. Working out at every morning at 3 o'clock didn't make them a billionaire, and it's not going to make you a billionaire either. There's other principles. You need to get some characteristics and some principles that they got down in life that stem from character, right? You can't just mimic somebody else and get success. You have to take the time to seek out the path that's for you. You have to be able to sift through all the information that's coming at you, all the things that people are telling you, and know what's going to work for your life, for your health, for your family, for your finances, right? Not for somebody else's. You have to do you. Your pathways to success will not come doing somebody else. It will come doing you, being you, knowing who you are and how your life works. I hope something in there was helpful for you. Remember, in all things, at all times, do you. Until next time, bye.